Elliot's hands trembled as the lawyer's voice echoed through the oak-paneled office in downtown Manhattan, reading the words that would shatter his family forever. Axel sat beside him, their fingers intertwined, offering the only anchor in a storm of long-buried pain. The room felt too small for the weight of Grandma Eleanor's last wishes, and the air was thick with the scent of old books and fresh betrayal. Mr. Hargrove cleared his throat and continued. To my beloved grandson Elliot, I leave the entirety of my estate, including the family farm, the investments, and the house in Pennsylvania, with a condition that his partner Axel is recognized as family. If my children and their families refuse to accept this within 6 months, everything goes to the Rainbow Youth Foundation. Elliot felt the room spin. His parents, brother and sister, were not in the room, but he could already hear their outrage. How could the woman who had baked him cookies and told him stories now turn the family against itself from beyond the grave? As the lawyer droned on about legal details, Elliot's mind drifted back to the beginning. It was 3 years ago in a crowded Brooklyn coffee shop where he first met Axel. The rain was pouring outside, and Elliot had been sketching designs for a client deadline on his laptop when the power flickered. A tall man with kind eyes and damp hair had offered him his portable charger with a smile that lit up the dim space. "You look like you are about to lose your work, and that would be a tragedy," said the stranger, who introduced himself as Axel, a school counselor. Their conversation flowed easily from art to books to the challenges of living in the city. By the time the rain stopped, Elliot had agreed to dinner the next night. Their first date was simple but perfect. They walked along the Brooklyn promenade, the lights of Manhattan twinkling across the river. Axel listened intently as Elliot shared his passion for graphic design and his dreams of starting his own studio. Elliot learned that Axel came from a close-knit family in California who had always supported him. That contrast stung a little, but it gave Elliot hope. As they parted under a street lamp, Axel had gently kissed his cheek, and Elliot felt something he had never known before, a sense of being truly seen. Over the following months, their relationship blossomed into something deep and real. Weekends were filled with exploring hidden gems in the city, from art galleries in Chelsea to quiet picnics in Prospect Park. Elliot loved how Axel made him laugh at himself and encouraged him to be open about who he was. Yet deep down, Elliot carried the secret fear of his family back home. His parents were devout and traditional. Coming out to them had always seemed impossible. But with Axel by his side, he began to imagine a future where he did not have to hide. One evening, after a particularly successful client meeting, Elliot returned to their shared apartment in Brooklyn to find Axel had prepared a surprise. The living room was filled with candles and his favorite takeout from the Thai place down the street. "You deserve to celebrate every win," Axel said, pulling him into a warm embrace. They talked late into the night about everything and nothing. In that moment, Elliot realized he was in love. It was not just the butterflies, but the quiet certainty that Axel was his home. But happiness always seemed fragile for Elliot. His phone calls with his mother were filled with questions about when he would settle down with a nice girl and give them grandchildren. Each lie chipped away at him. Axel noticed the change and gently pushed him to consider telling the truth. "It's eating you alive, Eli," he said one night as they lay on the couch watching an old movie. "You deserve to live freely." Elliot knew he was right, but the thought of losing his family terrified him. Then came the invitation for the annual family reunion at the farm. Grandma Eleanor had specifically asked for him to come and bring anyone special. It felt like a sign. With Axel's support, Elliot decided this was the time. He would introduce the man he loved and finally be honest. Little did he know that decision would change everything. As the memory faded, Elliot was back in the lawyer's office, his heart heavy with the knowledge that Grandma had seen his struggle and chosen to stand with him in the most powerful way possible. But at what cost to the family bonds she once held so dear? The lawyer finished reading and slid the thick envelope across the desk. Elliot took it with numb fingers. Axel squeezed his hand tighter. "We will figure this out together," he whispered as they stepped out into the bustling Manhattan street. The summer sun felt too bright for the shadow hanging over them. They walked in silence toward the subway, the weight of Grandma's words pressing down. Back in their Brooklyn apartment, Elliot collapsed onto the couch, staring at the envelope. Axel made coffee and sat beside him. "Read it with me, Eli." Inside was a handwritten letter from Grandma Eleanor, dated 6 months before her passing. "My dear Elliot, I have watched you grow into a kind, strong man. I knew about Axel long before you told anyone. I saw the way your eyes lit up when you spoke of him on our phone calls. Your happiness is what matters most. Your father and mother raised you with strong values, but sometimes those values blind them to love in all its forms. I am tying the inheritance this way not to punish, but to open their eyes. Choose your path with courage. Tears stung Elliot's eyes. Grandma had known all along. She had sent him secret birthday cards with extra cash and always asked about his friends in that knowing way. The memory took him back to the family reunion weekend 2 years earlier. He and Axel had driven from New York to the rolling hills of Pennsylvania, the farm looking just as he remembered it with the big red barn and the porch swing. As they pulled up, Elliot's stomach twisted. His mother Carol rushed out to hug him, but her smile faltered when she saw Axel. "Who is this?" she asked. "This is Axel, my boyfriend." Elliot said the words rushing out before he could stop them. The silence that followed was deafening. His father Richard stepped onto the porch, arms crossed. "What did you just say?" Elliot repeated it, voice shaking. "I am gay and Axel is the man I love." The argument exploded instantly. Richard shouted about sin and family name. Carol cried, asking what she had done wrong. His older brother Derek sneered and called him names that still burned. Only Grandma Eleanor had pulled Elliot aside later that night on the porch. "I am proud of you," she whispered, patting his hand. "Love is love." But the damage was done. By morning, his parents had packed his childhood things and told him not to come back. "You are not welcome here until you fix this," his father had said. The drive back to New York had been quiet, Axel driving while Elliot stared out the window numb. In the apartment, Axel had held him as he cried. "You are not alone anymore." That night, Elliot felt both free and utterly lost. The family he had known was gone. Calls from his sister Mia were short and awkward. She said she loved him but could not go against their parents. Now, 2 years later, Grandma's will brought it all rushing back. Elliot looked at Axel. "She is giving me a chance to have it all, but I do not know if I want her acceptance if it comes with conditions." Axel nodded. "This is your choice. But remember, you have built a life here with me. Your work is thriving. We have friends who celebrate us. That is real." They spent the evening talking late into the night, planning what to do next. Elliot felt a spark of determination mixed with fear. Grandma's wish was a lifeline and a bomb at the same time. The next morning, Elliot called a family lawyer in Pennsylvania to confirm details. The will was ironclad, Grandma had made sure. The farm alone was worth over $1 million, plus stocks and savings. His parents had counted on that money for retirement. Derek had plans to expand the family business. Mia wanted to buy a house. Grandma's move would hit them hard if they refused. Elliot felt a pang of guilt, but also a strange sense of justice. He and Axel decided to drive to Pennsylvania for the official family meeting the lawyer had scheduled. The 3-hour trip was tense. As they pulled into the familiar driveway, the house looked smaller than Elliot remembered. His family waited inside, expressions hard. Richard barely glanced at Axel. Carol hugged Elliot stiffly. Derek crossed his arms. Mia offered a small smile. The lawyer explained the terms again. Public acceptance means attending events with both of them introducing Axel as family and no more exclusion. 6 months to show genuine effort or the assets transfer. Richard slammed his fist on the table. "This is blackmail." Eleanor lost her mind. Derek muttered under his breath about freaks. Carol wiped tears. Elliot felt his chest tighten. "I did not ask for this," he said. "But Grandma saw how you treated me. She wanted better." The meeting ended in shouts. His family stormed out, leaving Elliot and Axel alone with the lawyer. As they drove away, Elliot replayed the scene in his mind. The rejection still hurt, but now it came with power. Axel suggested they stay in a nearby hotel instead of driving back immediately. That night in the quiet room, they talked about their future. Axel shared stories from his own, coming out how his California family had thrown a party. Elliot envied that but felt grateful for the man beside him. Back in Brooklyn, life continued, but with new tension. Elliot threw himself into work designing logos for a nonprofit that helped queer youth. Each project felt like a small rebellion. Axel counseled students at school facing similar family struggles. Their evenings were filled with quiet support. One weekend, they escaped for a quick trip to Washington, D.C. to clear their heads. They picnicked under cherry blossoms in the park, holding hands and talking about dreams. For a few hours, the world felt light again. Yet the family pressure mounted. His mother called, begging him to reconsider for the sake of the farm. Derek sent angry texts. Mia texted privately, "I am stuck in the middle, but I miss you." Elliot wrestled with doubt. Was he being selfish by holding firm? Axel reminded him Grandma's wish was about healing, not winning. The internal battle grew each day, testing his resolve and their bond. Weeks turned into months. The 6-month clock ticked loudly in Elliot's mind. His freelance business grew, but so did the stress. Late nights at the drafting table left him exhausted. Axel noticed and planned small gestures like surprise dinners or walks in the neighborhood. Their love deepened through the hardship. Elliot realized Axel was not just a partner, but his safe harbor. One evening, after a particularly rough call with his mother, Elliot broke down. "What if I give in just to keep peace?" Axel held him close. "Then you would lose yourself, and that is not the man I fell in love with." They decided to take a short vacation to recharge. A road trip through the mountains felt right. In Colorado, they hiked a trail and stood on overlook, dancing playfully to music from Axel's phone, the vast landscape below mirroring the freedom Elliot craved. The moment was pure joy, laughter echoing as they spun together. Returning home, the legal notices arrived. His family was contesting the will, claiming undue influence. The fight turned ugly. Richard accused Grandma of being manipulated in her final days. Elliot hired his own lawyer to defend her wishes. The process drained their savings and energy. Axel suggested they visit his family in California for support. The week there was healing. They walked the Malibu beach barefoot, waves lapping at their feet, smiling at each other with the kind of ease that reminded Elliot why they fought. During the trip, Elliot met Axel's parents, who welcomed him like a son. The contrast with his own family brought fresh pain, but also clarity. He could choose his family now. Back in New York, the court date loomed. Elliot wrote a letter to his family, pouring out years of hurt, the nights he cried alone, the fear of never being enough. He sent it hoping for a crack in their walls. Mia responded first. She admitted she had always suspected and regretted not speaking up sooner. A small bridge formed. But Richard and Derek remained firm. Carol wavered in her messages, torn between faith and love for her son. Elliot felt the weight of choices. Grandma's wish was forcing them all to look in the mirror. In quiet moments with Axel, he processed the growth. No longer the scared young man hiding his truth, he was stepping into strength. Their relationship grew stronger, forged in fire. File 5. The mediation session was scheduled in Philadelphia. Elliot and Axel drove, their hearts pounding. The room was neutral, but the air crackled with old resentments. His family sat on one side, Elliot and Axel on the other. The mediator read Grandma's video message. Eleanor appeared on screen, frail but determined. "I loved all of you, but I saw the pain Elliot carried. Acceptance is not weakness, it is strength. If you cannot give it, the money goes where it can help others like him." Richard stormed out mid-video. Derek followed, shouting. Carol stayed, tears flowing. Mia squeezed Elliot's hand across the table. The session ended without agreement, but seeds were planted. That night, Elliot walked alone in a nearby park, replaying his life. Memories of school bullying, hiding crushes, and the day he left home flooded back. The identity crisis hit hard. Was he worth all this pain? Axel found him on a bench. "You do not have to carry this alone," he said, sitting close. They talked for hours about sacrifice and authenticity. Elliot decided then to stand firm, but with open heart. No more hiding, no more begging. The next day, Mia met them privately. She wanted to attend a family dinner with both of them. Small steps. The legal battle intensified with depositions and paperwork. Elliot used the time to build his own legacy, starting a side project mentoring young artists from similar backgrounds. Axel supported fully, their evenings now filled with planning rather than worry. A weekend getaway to a vineyard area brought another layer of peace. On a sunlit terrace overlooking rolling hills, they toasted with juice glasses raised high, beaming with affection. The moment reminded them of the joy still possible. Family cracks widened. Carol called Elliot, directly apologizing for past silence. She wanted to meet Axel properly. Derek resisted but faced pressure as the farm operation suffered without clear ownership. Grandma's wish was working its slow magic, exposing hypocrisies. Elliot felt both vindicated and sad. Change came at a cost, but growth was happening. With the deadline approaching, the family gathered again at the farm for one last discussion. Tensions peaked when Derek accused Elliot of ruining everything. Words flew, old wounds reopened. Richard admitted his own struggles with change but clung to beliefs. Elliot stood tall. I did not choose this path to hurt you. I chose it to live honestly. Grandma's gift is a chance for all of us. The confrontation left everyone raw. Elliot and Axel retreated to a nearby cabin for the night. There in the quiet, they reflected on their journey. Axel shared his fears of being the cause of division. Elliot reassured him. You are the best part of my life. Their bond felt unbreakable. Back in the city, the court ruled in favor of the will. Grandma's preparation held. The family now faced a choice. Accept or lose it all. Carol and Mia chose acceptance, attending a small gathering with Elliot and Axel in Brooklyn. Hugs were awkward at first but real. Derek and Richard held out, but the financial reality bit hard. The farm needed decisions. Elliot used part of the early funds to launch a community center for queer youth in Pennsylvania, a place where kids could find support he never had. That felt like closing a circle. Axel joined the board, bringing his counseling expertise. Their life in Brooklyn continued with new purpose. Weekends now included occasional visits to the family farm, where Carol tried cooking for Axel and asking genuine questions. Internal growth continued for Elliot. Therapy helped him process the years of rejection, turning shame into pride. Axel stood by every step, their love a steady light. Misunderstandings arose, like when Derek spread rumors, but they faced them together. Sacrifices were made, such as Elliot delaying a big career move to focus on family reconciliation. Each decision built resilience. The 6-month mark arrived. A formal dinner at the farm tested everything. Richard showed up tense but present. Derek stayed away. Conversations were careful, but progress showed. Richard even shook Axel's hand, though stiffly. Elliot felt a shift. Not full healing, but a beginning. Yet betrayal lurked. Derek tried one last legal maneuver, claiming fraud. The court dismissed it quickly. The fallout strained Derek, further isolating him. Elliot reached out but respected boundaries. The family dynamics realigned, with Mia stepping up as mediator. In the midst of it all, Elliot and Axel planned a quiet commitment ceremony with close friends and accepting family members. No big production, just meaningful vows under a tree in Prospect Park. The day was filled with laughter and tears of joy. Grandma's presence felt close. Elliot's awakening was complete. He no longer sought validation from the past, but built his own legacy. Axel thrived in his work, inspired by their story to advocate more boldly. The couple grew in ways they never imagined, handling crises with grace and love. The ceremony ended with toasts and stories. Carol hugged Axel, calling him son for the first time. Richard watched quietly, a small smile breaking through. Derek sent a neutral text later, perhaps the start of his own path. The inheritance was secured, but more importantly, connections mended. Elliot donated generously to causes close to Grandma's heart, ensuring her wish lived on. Months later, life settled into a new normal. The farm thrived under shared decisions. Elliot's design studio expanded. Axel proposed during a mountain hike in Colorado, their laughter echoing as they celebrated. They returned to Brooklyn stronger. Looking back, Elliot saw the journey as one of loss and profound gain. Grandma's dying wish had not only redistributed wealth, but redistributed love, forcing choices that revealed true character. The family was not perfect, but it was evolving. Elliot and Axel stood at the center of their chosen world, ready for whatever came next. True or false, a dying wish can genuinely heal deep family prejudice, or does it merely expose fractures that money cannot fix?